Camera, action.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another review. And today we're going to be talking about the newest film in the Pooniverse, Twisted Child universe, Pinocchio Unstrung. So this movie pretty much follows a boy named James who's kind of having trouble fitting in and making friends and whatnot. So his grandpa Geppetto makes him this doll, which is Pinocchio, who that way he'll always have a friend. And let's just say Pinocchio goes a little bit too far to keep him safe. So I will be honest, this is a movie that I did not know what to expect. I know I'm not fully on board so far with this whole Pooniverse or dark twisted childhood thing, whatever they're doing. I think some of the movies are solid. I do like some more than others, and I have fun with them overall. Like I think the two Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honeys, they're fun. They're not the greatest movies in the world, but they're still fun. As a slasher fan, they're fun. I enjoy them. I can turn my brain off and have a good time with them. The Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, I actually pretty enjoyed that one. I think there was something really dark and twisted about that one, and it had some actually creepy moments. So that one I actually really enjoyed. And I have not seen the Bambi was it Bambi Reckoning? I have not seen that one yet, but I've heard people say that one's pretty gruesome and out there as well. So I am curious. I will eventually check that one out. So I went to check this movie out last night, and I have to say it's really a lot of fun. I I can't lie. It's ridiculous the amount of fun that I had at the theater watching this. So starting off with some positives that I enjoyed about this movie was that I enjoy the old school filmmaking. I'm so happy that this movie took the approach of actually building this doll and like actually doing old school puppeteer work and not making everything CGI and all that good stuff. I know that there is some CG in this movie, but as for the puppetry and whatnot, all that stuff looks really good and really well done. And it makes me really appreciate this movie even more because to me, the fact that they're willing to really put that much work in to really shows me that they actually care, that they really have something where they really care about this universe and this movie, and that's just what they wanted to do with it. They wanted to take it old school. And as a fan of stuff like that, it makes me feel very kind of nostalgia and really appreciate this movie even more for that, and really wish that more movies would kind of take that approach with this. All of the puppeteer work is done really well, and even down to like the walking, how they do the movements and the walking of this doll. While it looks kind of unsettling and just kind of like that uncanny valley vibe to it, I think it really adds to the character and really the ambiance and the vibe of what they're going for. So even with stuff like that, I really, just tip my hat to people like that because it just makes me really, like I said, appreciate the movie even more. Even down to the fact that I love how even the title card was practical. I love how, at the end of the movie, it showed a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff and how, it showed them how they just dropped the different things for the movie and whatnot, like the title card for the movie. And like I said, it was just something that kind of just made my heart smile a little bit, and something that I just really enjoyed. One of the other things I really liked about this movie was the kills, all of the practical effects that they use. Like there is some gnarly, brutal kills in this movie that really go for it. They don't hold back because they kind of do push it in that kind of mean-spirited area, and when they, call this that dark, twisted universe, man, they really do mean that. I even took a friend wanted to go with me that has never seen any of these movies. So he was just curious to check it out. And even some of the kills in this movie involving certain body parts, he was just like, he was over there like, oh, not that, not that. And so, it was very interesting and cool to see how he reacted to some of this stuff. I'm very jaded, but stuff like this don't really bother me much anymore because I've seen so much of it. But they do very much go into that mean-spirited. There was a couple scenes in this movie that I was not expecting when it came to the violence. And even one scene in particular that I don't want to give away, let's just say somebody gets obliterated, that I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that at all. And with all that violence, like I just mentioned, with the practical effects, I absolutely love that they use practical effects. That is something I will always champion when it comes to movies, horror movies especially, because a lot of times they're just like, yeah, we'll fix it in post or whatever. But this, they really went out of their way to really do as much stuff practically as they could. All the stuff looks really good, and it really has that effect to it to where you have that phantom pain when certain scenes happen on screen. And like I said before when I was talking about the puppetry work, I really appreciate the amount of work that they went into this movie with all of that, because it just really shows you that they care. One of the things that I was not expecting about this movie was how much I really appreciated and liked all the characters. I think they're really well done, and I think that the actors, they give really great performances, but they do a really good job of making you care about these characters, really kind of sympathize with them. And one of the most shocking things was how much you really sympathize with Pinocchio. Like, he's this innocent, childlike character. So when he starts doing all these horrific things, there's a part of you that's kind of like, man, I want you to see the light of day. I don't want you to do these things because I know it's not you. I know you're just trying to protect somebody, but you really care and you really want him to, just go about doing the right thing. So that was something that I was very much not expecting at all in this movie, but that carries on really with all of the characters. Even Richard Brake, Richard Brake is an actor that I really like. He's in some movies that I'm not a fan of, but as an actor, I really always appreciated what he does. I think he can be really twisted and mean and really go off the handle when you need him to. And in this movie, it's almost he takes a different approach for the majority of the movie. And it was really cool to see him in this movie, for the most part, play a whole different character, play somebody we don't get to see often, and it shows right there that he can do it. I think our main child actor, Cameron Bell, does a really good job as James, really playing this character who's had a bunch of tragedies happen in his life, who's really just having a hard time fitting in, and just, you really have a lot of sympathy for him, and you really want to see him really find his place. But I think he does a really great job of really connecting with the audience to really give you somebody to really latch into, to really, sympathize with. And it's the same with his friends. I enjoyed his friends as well. And they just bring, especially one of his friends brings more of a comedic side to this story. But I really enjoyed what he was able to bring to the audience. One of the biggest things that I really appreciated about this movie was something I was telling my friend the other night when we were leaving the theater, was that I really loved how they finally leaned into the funny side of everything of this movie. I felt like with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, there was a lot of opportunity there to really be silly and over the top, because look at your source material, look at what you're doing, and I feel like you could have leaned into making it really funny, as well as having those really cool slasher kills and whatnot, because that would feel more like one of those 80s type horror movie slasher movies to me. And they didn't really go that route. The Winnie the Pooh movies to me are way more serious, but this one really leans into the campiness of it, the silliness of the story, and it goes for it. I think it fires on all cylinders when it comes to the comedic side of it. There is a lot of great funny moments when it comes to Pinocchio, when it comes to his friends, and all that stuff just kind of going back and forth. It really leans into that, which is something, like I said, I felt was missing from the other movies. So I was really happy the fact that it leaned into that and really kind of went that way, while also being really dark and twisted and having these really messed up, mean-spirited kills throughout it. Even some of the dialogue is mean-spirited, but like I said, the way that they inject comedy into this movie is something that I really wish they did for the Winnie the Pooh movies as well. And maybe they will in the future. Maybe they were just trying to find their footing with, the first couple movies. And it's I get it. You got to find something that works. But I really hope that they kind of keep this kind of balance and direction throughout pretty much the rest of their movies. I also love the little winks and nods to other horror films in this movie. Watching this movie, I got a really big Child's Play feel throughout it, with the whole thing with, you have this kid, and now Pinocchio's trying to protect the kid and whatnot. Same way with Child's Play. It felt very much into that. And like I said, I enjoyed all the winks and nods that they had to that. And with Robert Englund coming in to play Jiminy Cricket, I really enjoyed all the winks and nods to Freddy Krueger, with he still looked like his hand almost still looked like he had the blades and the glove on his hand. And there's even a point where he puts on a hat and he's like, this hat fits me, doesn't it? So I love how they leaned into all that. They just did a really good job of paying homage to those other characters, and having Robert Englund do that. It's just a cool wink and nod for us if you're a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, to be like, yeah, there's our Freddy. There's our guy. And now moving on to my mixed or negative side of it, and one of those is being the dialogue. I don't think the dialogue is fully baked yet. I feel like it's almost there, but I feel like maybe one or two more passes of the script really would have kind of pushed some of those other certain scenes in stronger directions. And I just feel like there were some scenes that was kind of undercooked a little bit, and like I said, it is very mean-spirited, but that whole mean-spirited side is something that a lot of you could really want to go there to see, and really how you want stuff to play out. But I know for a lot of people, when it goes really far into the mean-spirited side, that can kind of turn people off, and it's really not for them. So you just kind of have to know who you are going into it, and if you're already a fan of this universe to begin with. Another one I have is that I feel like with the so-called twist or reveal, whatever you want to call it, that it comes at near the end of this movie, is kind of on the nose. Like it was something that I called really about 10 minutes in, and it's not because I'm smart. Trust me, when it comes to movies or slashers or anything like that, I never ever call who the killer is. I never do any of that because I really kind of shut my brain off to all that because I want to enjoy it and go along for this ride and not ruin things for myself, if that makes sense. But in this one, this is one that kind of I really saw from the beginning, and so when it happens, you're kind of like, yeah, okay. You're like, I knew something was there. I didn't know exactly what, but I knew something along that line was baked into that. Because there is something as the movie goes on that you're kind of like, I feel like something's really off about this character and this character. So at some point, something's going to reveal itself. And like I said, it's just one of those things that I caught on to pretty quickly, which probably a lot of people will. So like I said, it's not just a me thing. But I was still very curious to see where this entire story was going to go. So even though I saw that coming, it didn't really ruin anything for me or take me out of it by any means. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I kind of wish maybe you would have done one or two things differently to kind of pull the rug out from under me so it didn't go in the direction that I did expect it to go. And the last thing I'll have for this movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this could be a me thing, because I've only ever seen these movies one time, is that I know they're setting up for this big, like, twisted childhood or dark twisted childhood unit, whatever it's called. Like, they're setting up essentially an Avengers-style universe for all these characters. Now, I don't know when that's coming out or anything, because I know they have a few more movies under their belt. I think they have, like, a Sleeping Beauty movie coming. They have another Winnie the Pooh movie coming. So I don't know how all that's going to play out, but I know they are doing that. But I don't feel like any connective tissue so far throughout these movies that's going to kind of bring all these characters together. Now, I'm not saying that it can't work. I mean, look at this universe that we're in. Anything is possible. But I'm saying is I don't feel like there's any like winks and nods or tips of the hat to other characters or other events that's happened in other movies to really build stuff up to get us to that point. And like I said, I could be wrong. This could totally be a me thing. There could have been completely homages and stuff that I absolutely missed in all of these movies. Like I said, I've only seen them one time, and I have not seen the Bambi one yet. So I could be totally wrong. Correct me if I am wrong. But I just felt like they need to really maybe drop. It don't have to be massive like these Avengers type stuff where you're putting in full post-credit scenes to set up characters coming in and all that whatnot. I mean, just little Easter eggs and be like, oh, yeah, they're paying homage to an event that happened in Winnie the Pooh, or, oh, yeah, that happened in Bambi, or, stuff like that. Just little, or even a character passing by and be like, oh, okay, there they are. Just little winks and nods like that, just to start to set up that little bit of connective tissue to bring us to those movies whenever we get them. But other than that, I have to say that I actually had a lot of fun with this movie. It's honestly ridiculous the amount of fun I had with it. It was only me and a friend, and I think there was 2 or 3 other people in the theater, and the guy that was also in our row, when it was over, he looked over at me and my friend and was like, yeah, boy, that was something, wasn't it? And there was a couple dudes that was down in the front that were laughing their ass off all the way through the movie. So if this is a movie that piqued your interest, or if you are a fan of the other movies in this universe, by all means, you're probably going to like it, because there are a lot of people that were on board with this universe when it first kicked off. So if you were in that camp, you'll absolutely probably really enjoy this movie. And if you've never seen any of these movies before, like I said, they are fun and enjoyable, but like I said, the Winnie the Pooh movies do kind of take themselves a little bit more seriously, where this one kind of leans more into the fun and campy side while being very dark and twisted, but having some really great kills and some really great practical effects. And I just love the fact that, like I said, they did the old school filmmaking with the puppet work. That's just amazing to me. These guys really looked like they had a lot of fun making this movie. And as somebody that would like to make a movie one day, I would just like to have some fun like this on set, because I feel like as ridiculous as the concept is, you just have fun with it and roll with it. And I think that's what makes this one kind of stand out a little bit more. So thank you, everybody. That is my review for Pinocchio Unstrung. If this is the review that you're finding me on, please come over to the channel and check out all my other 2026 reviews so far. I'll try to leave a card somewhere up here. I never know what side it's going to land on, so I just sit here doing this like an idiot. Yeah. And I'm very curious, what is your favorite Puniverse, dark, twisted childhood movie that has came out of this this world so far? Is it the first Blood and Honey? The second one, is it the Peter Pan? Is it Bambi? Or is it Pinocchio Unstrung? I'm very curious. I really like this one and Pinocchio so far. I think those are my two in the running. So what is yours? Let's talk about them down below. And as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That way I can see all of you in the next one. And thank you so very, very much.